That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. That was epic. What's up, everybody? That was a ton of fun for that race. Let me know what you think. Already, just put it in the chat out of 10 what you think. I'm giving that a flat 10 out of 10, man. I'm giving that was in the top 2 races of the year, in my opinion, pretty easily. Make Homestead the finale. I mean, I'm seeing lots of 9s, mostly 10s though. Just anything you would want out of a good NASCAR race, you got in that race today. And you know what? I can't really complain too much. Yeah, maybe the Larson spin or whatever, we can say it was a little, ticky-tack kind of caution, but he was, sideways to the field with cars coming. So I'm not gonna really complain too much. That was about, in my opinion, when you add the racing, when you add the fuel mileage, when you add the high stakes, the finish, everything about it. The broadcast, I think, had some issues early on, but improved a ton as it went. And that's about as close, I think, to perfect as you can get. I know a few people that are at the race today who are like best Homestead race in years, maybe ever. I don't really know how to start this because there was so much that happened in this race. But Tyler Reddick gets the win. He is advanced to Phoenix, barring NASCAR playing some dirty games with a post-race penalty or something. I don't think that's going to happen. Knock on wood, it doesn't. And I gotta admit, they gave me someone to root for because I want to see the team that's suing NASCAR win. I want to see them win the championship and have to see all of the NASCAR brass hand them all of the trophies and do all of that. You will see me if that happens. Probably about this time in 2 weeks, cackling. And that's right. Reddick wins, so we get the Monster Girls in victory lane. Even better. Yeah, I see. Of course, there's some that are upset with it, but this race was the best of the best out there competing. When you look at the top 6 finishers of this race, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, and 28. That's where the playoff guys finished. Larson was that 13th guy. Of course, Joey was the far down one, but 1 through 6, Reddick, Blaney, Hamlin, Bell, Elliott, Byron, those are the best of the best. Larson was up there for most of the day. You had the Rookie of the Year, Carson Hocevar, up there racing where I think he belongs in the long term as an elite driver, at least an elite talent now. You even saw earlier on in the race some of the others, like Alex Bowman, probably the best eliminated driver right now statistically, up in 7th, right with them. I could gush on and on and on about this race, and I will within the next hour or so. By the way, poll is up on the community tab. It's a little different. YouTube only gives you 4 options now, so we had to combine below average and bad. I could just, holy Jesus, this might be the most positively voted poll I have ever put on my channel, at least at this point. Wow. But this race to me had everything that any fan could want. It had the great racing. It had the great strategy. It had the great, whether it be tire or even fuel strategy. If you're someone who didn't want to watch for the playoffs, you had that all to look at, and you had the best up there. If you're someone that's really invested with these drivers in the playoffs, you had them constantly back and forth. And I don't see, unless you're looking for a reason to be upset with this race, how you could be, I should say, upset with it. This race was 267 laps, 3 hours, 5 minutes, 43 seconds, 11 leaders, 6 cautions, but a track record. Spam it in the chat. New track record, 33 lead changes. And yes, they had some green flag stops, but every Homestead race has green flag stops. I don't think we can use that as a cop-out to say, oh, you know, they did it all under the cycles. No, it was on restarts. It was late into runs. It was throughout the race. You know, begin stage 1, 2, and the final stage. There was plenty of on-track passes for the lead. The last lap, the last 3 laps, 3 different drivers led between Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick. You know, I feel like for like longtime fans that don't like this is your cue to like maybe step aside for a bit and reevaluate. If you're somebody who just doesn't like this and you're new, you're never going to like NASCAR. Like, I don't know what else to say. I have never seen in the recent, probably since I would say post-COVID, I have not seen social media so positive about NASCAR. I've not seen my chat so positive about NASCAR. It's just like, it's one of those days where you're happy with what you saw. And that's, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. So talking about that finish, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's look at the standings and the finishing order of this race. So you got the 22 and the 45. They've advanced in. Logano goes from 0 to 0 this week. Doesn't matter because he's locked in. And Reddick goes from 0 to hero this week, from flipping on the front stretch at Vegas to doing burnouts on the front stretch in Miami. So he's in plus 29, I believe. My handwriting is chicken scratch right now, so I apologize for that if I got that wrong. But I believe plus 29 for Christopher Bell. Yep, plus 7 for William Byron. He's in. Kyle Larson, 7 points out, 18 out for Denny Hamlin. He's right back in the mix, heading into arguably his best track, if not one of his top 3 best tracks. Blaney minus 38 and Elliott minus 43. I think they're in must win personally. But Tyler Reddick doesn't have to worry about that for a week. Go into one of his worst tracks and he can just have all of the just relaxed energy in the world, because he won by a quarter of a second over Ryan Blaney in the last lap, who finished second, Hamlin third, Bell fourth, Elliott fifth, sixth is Byron, Bowman in seventh, eighth is AJ Allmendinger, Carson Hocevar. Again, because of how the finish was and the guys running up front and all of that, this will probably get overlooked, but ninth place finishing Carson Hocevar, I think establishing that he belongs. That, yeah, he's made some dumb mistakes before. A lot of people compared him to the stuff Connor Jones did yesterday. I get the comparisons, but driver-wise, not even close. Carson Hocevar belongs. He was racing top 5 in a Spire car, while the other Spire cars today finished 30th or worse, and were running there most of the day. I mean, he was like just leaps and bounds ahead. So I want to give him his credit. I am a little more favorable towards him. But 10th, an inspirational run, Ryan Preece. Top 10 finish in the 41. A pretty solid day overall for Stewart-Haas Racing, as 11th is Barry, 12th is Briscoe, and then Larson faded back at the end after spinning from second position. We'll talk about that in a moment as well, to 13th on the finishing grid. Michael McDowell 14th, Buescher 15th, 16th is Suarez. After Suarez, we got Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland, your top 20. Stenhouse 21st, 22nd Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., just not the greatest day in that 2017 throwback, 23rd position. Harrison Burton behind him, and Austin Dillon. John Hunter Nemechek in the 26th spot. Cindric 27th, Logano 28th. Hemrick 29th, and 30th, Zane Smith. Kyle Busch 31st, miserable day for him as well. Kaz Grala 32nd, and Ross Chastain, last driver on the lead lap, 33rd position on the day. Haley 34th a lap down, LaJoie 35th a lap down, Ty Gibbs 6th down in 36th after his issues, and Chad Fincham, last one on the racetrack, 9 down, only one out of the race. JJ Yaley didn't cause a caution, didn't make a commotion or anything. Did what he should. But I'm gonna put a poll up while we talk about this, and it's just gonna be a straight yes or no. And it's a 2-word question. Homestead finale poll going up now. All right, let's talk about the finish. We restarted with 7 to go, and Reddick with about 3 lap or so older tires. Yes, I know that, with pit stops and stuff, it was technically like 6, but they only ran like 2 or 3 laps. But we saw earlier what that did with bad handling cars like Joey Logano and Kyle Busch and others, where they just dropped right to the back. And to be fair, early on in the run, he did get the push ahead, but a 3-wide battle for the lead, almost 4 wide at one point, ended with Hamlin in first, Blaney in second, and it was on. I don't know why. Got a little runny nose today. I took your advice. I am drinking water. I am getting texted left and right too about this. I know that the vibe of those at Homestead right now is this is getting them the finale back, which I'd be happy with that after today. If this was the finale, holy hell. I don't think anyone would have anything they'd say about anything after it. But anyway, it was really a battle between the 11 and 12 for the most part. The 12 kept diving low. Denny would get the run up high, and Reddick just stayed there. He just kept pace. He had some others there, but Reddick just stayed in the picture. And that's all he really needed to do in this, because when they started racing each other, that would keep him there. Plus, his car was handling really well, even with a little bit older tires. And, on top of him, the 20 and the 9 were there. They just couldn't make the move. They were just a little too far back. But, we had 5 cars at one point under a blanket, less than a second between them with 4 to go. But the 11, the 12, and the 45 pull away. Hamlin has the lead, but Blaney is there, clears with a slide job with 2 to go. White flag comes out, and he has to now hold off the 45, who's up to second. Reddick going down the backstretch. I think played a pretty smart move overall. Blaney went about a lane lower, which I could maybe assume that being a defensive move to just try and protect himself more. I think maybe from a slide job. I didn't hear the interview because I was going live here. Again, a lot of us will, I think, say it was a bad move. And it really wasn't the greatest. The high side showed to be the best defensive area to be. But I also at the same time think that, the 45 has stayed out. His tires are really worn out compared to it, because we saw what 2 or 3 lap tires would do, and that was really worn out. It's kind of like an old school Rockingham, Darlington kind of vibe. But Reddick just flew it in there on the high side. It was like he hit another gear and got the run off the corner, got the win. I am amazed that he was able to stay up there after that. I am absolutely amazed he was able to do that, because that was just all in all a just great move. And if he ends up in 2 weeks winning the championship and having to have that awkward moment where Phelps, and maybe if Jim France is there, be awkward around him, handing him a championship trophy, that's the moment he can point to. Because I can almost guarantee with 100% certainty that there is no way he is going and winning at Martinsville. I just don't see that happen. And that team has just not been, in my opinion, good enough there. But holy hell, what a great move. I can't gush more about it, I don't think. But that wasn't just it. A lot of people were talking about what led to that, which, by the way, we're going to end the poll 96% to 4% voting yes. Homestead should be the finale again. Really, it's 97 to 3, but they had to round the yes vote on it. People are speaking openly about it. They talked about it on the broadcast that the city of Homestead is wanting this back. So just saying, I think if they're able to get some good renovations with all the extra time they have after the early season race next year. Remember, this race, I believe, is race 6 or in the first 6 races or something like that next year. This could be that's just great launching off point, because this track, I think, adding that in, that would just make the stakes even better. But talking about what happened beforehand, I guess we're kind of working our way back a little bit. We'll talk point by point, and we'll get to super chats at the end of the stream. But with this, you have, I would say, looking back, about 18 to go or so. It's a 12 versus the 5. I think Ryan Blaney was probably the best one out there today. I think he ran in a really great race, really fast, just had a few issues here and there, but was able to make up very quickly for him. But it is Blaney and Larson, and it's clear Larson is catching him. He's catching up. Denny Hamlin had no shot. His tires had equalized at that point, and you're just waiting for the move. And with Kyle Larson, it's going to be one of two things. It's either A, going to be Kyle Larson does a bonsai move that nobody else would try, and you're going to be amazed with it. And those that don't like Kyle Larson and the Larson narrative are going to be like, oh God, they're going to talk about him being the best in the world again. Or Kyle Larson takes it that step too far or goes a little bit too aggressive, and he ends up taking him or somebody else out. And I saw a lot of people blaming Austin Dillon for this. Dillon kind of just held his lane. I mean, a lot of the drivers who were getting lapped held it on the high side, let them by at different points. I get that, because I saw at one point people tweeting again, fail Earnhardt, and it's Dillon again, getting in the way, ruining a great race. I didn't really see it like that. I saw it as Kyle Larson saw his opportunity to take advantage of Blaney lapping him, leaving that extra room a little bit, with them racing so close, and maybe taking him a little by surprise, being like, we're going to take it 3 wide, and like we're either seeing the lead or seeing Jesus at this point. Like that's where I'm thinking that his mentality is. He ends up spinning it out, nearly saves it, which for me reminds me actually of a race I attended, 2018 Chicagoland, where, and yes, take a shot. I mentioned Chicagoland on a stream. What's up, Muvik? Where, he, way different scenario, but he almost saved it, kind of spinned off, got in the grass, got it back going, didn't I think in that either lose a position, lost one, I think, with this spin. Hell of a save still, but just, so close. But man, I mean, that's just talking about the finish of this race. I mean, that's not even talking about the fact that, yes, we had 6 cautions. Half of those were from the start of the race to the end of stage 1. So the majority of this race was, I would say, pretty clean green flag racing, because after stage 1 especially, you had 1 caution for the end of stage 2. So you had 2 cautions basically in the last, 200, 180 laps, whatever it was. So overall, still a really clean race too on that. So God, man, I love this race, and we're gonna put it up here. Let's do our way too early voting on it. And definitely with no recency bias whatsoever. Let's see what you guys would vote for when it comes to if it will update. Come on. This thing always ends up being so slow, so I apologize. Homestead, Kansas 1, and we'll do Atlanta 1. Because I know a lot of people will vote for Atlanta. Let's see what you guys will vote for race of the year if it will update. It's like running as slow as a, there we go. All right, it should be up, I think. Come on. Ah, snap. I swear YouTube's new update screws with streaming so badly. I hate it. And you know what? Maybe I can add the Southern 500 if it'll allow me. Seeing how it's making me redo the whole thing. There's so many I think you could vote for being best race of the year. So let's see what we got. We'll do Homestead. You guys, I'm not doing Bristol. Kansas 1. Kansas 1 had a great finish and really great racing, but I think this all in all to me was better. Even if the finish wasn't as good, I think the racing. Then again, I mean, you did have a lot of 4 wide racing today, but you had that 5 wide pass. That's the thing, man. It's been a wild ass year. we'll put Southern 500 in there, and then Atlanta 1. And I'm not expecting this one to win or anything. I do think, and maybe it is recency bias, but I might put Homestead as my favorite so far this year, just because that was just pure raw racing. Like even the caution that came out late, it wasn't like something stupid. It wasn't an avoidable. Well, it was avoidable, but it was more like, it wasn't like somebody like JJ Yaley stopped on the track or Chad Fincham. It was somebody going for the win and just went too far. Of course, again, very much recency bias. I understand that, but there is that to look at too. But that's where I'm putting my hat on the ring. At least 20 minutes after the race ends, I'm putting it on Homestead right now. Let's roll into talking about the race itself. And I do want to remind you, we'll be live Wednesday night for NWP on Eric Estep's channel. We got a ton to talk about. October 30th, so should be a lot of fun. Last one of October. But man, we have 6 total races between the top 3 series left, 2 apiece in each. I don't want season, it's moments like this don't want me to have the season to end when there's, I don't want to wait 12, 13, 14, whatever weeks it is to see racing again after this. This was badass. I mean, I think that is going to be like my byline of it. This was a badass race, and the best of the best showed out, and I loved seeing that. And again, they better be renovating this place for the finale in 26, because if they took it out of the playoffs for frickin' New Hampshire or Gateway, whichever one it was that took over, I think it would probably be Gateway that would have taken over for them. That is a world-class fumble if they don't renovate this place for the finale in 26. I will say that now. Like, they better have it for 26, because if they don't, or if they just lollygag around for a couple years, that is one of the dumbest moves after what we saw today. I'm going to miss this being this late in the season until hopefully just 2026. But let's see. Yeah, of course, a lot of people are like, remember Martinsville's next week. I get it. But let's go into this thing. Tyler Reddick won from the pole today. He won the pole. One of the big stories, too, was Logano to the rear of the field, which he remained for pretty much the entirety of the day, running about where he finished for half the season leading up to today. Reddick left him in the dust lap 1, and you're thinking, oh boy, here we go. It's going to be like wire to wire. Well, hopefully maybe Byron or Larson or somebody can challenge, but we didn't even get a full lap as Justin Haley would spin from the top 10. He just tried to self-clear Stenhouse. Nothing that Stenhouse did wrong there. So, again, you knew it was going to be wild from that point. I'm looking in the chat real quick. Reverend Sheem Hall Stewart, would you go to the finale in 26 if it's in Homestead? They got internet access, so I could talk to you guys probably right after the championship burnout. So, yeah, I probably would. And I'll be honest too. I'd probably have a lot of people coming on that stream too, because I don't think I'd be the only person going to that race either. So, I can't give you 100%, but I can say damn near 100%. I want to go. I know people that can help me get there and save money doing so. So I will give you probably 98% chance that I could do that unless something weird happened. And with it not being a leap year, what day would the finale be in 2026? Hold on, because if this is the case, oh my god, it might be my birthday. So hell yeah, I would go. Oh my god, I would definitely, with the next gen at an intermediate track on my birthday finale, all of that. Hell yes, I would go. If it's November 1st, because that's what it says on there, at least on the calendar I saw. Next year is, I think, November 2nd for when the finale would be. But if 2026, if it's on Sunday, November 1st on my birthday, hell yeah, I would. That'd be my 29th birthday? That'd be a very, very memorable one. It'd be the first race that I would go to on my birthday since 2015 Martinsville. So if you believe in people going to races and history repeating itself of just historic and crazy things happening, you better hope that it's that day if it lines up that way. So yeah, hell yeah, I would go, especially if it was November 1st. That is a no-brainer whatsoever after today. Of course, they get it back going. Okay, let's get back in line here. They get it back going, lap 6 or so. They have it restarted. Reddick, of course, clearing. He threw a massive block on Larson. You just knew between that start with the Haley spin, between the massive blocks they were throwing on lap 6, 7, and 3 and 4 wide, 5 wide, I think, in the pack at one point. Like, you knew that this race was just, it was amped up to 11. This is one of those few races, as someone who doesn't really like the playoffs all that much, where I will openly say this race lived up to that hype and then some. And that's why I'm saying I will not complain. I'm not here to start wars in the chat or anything. You know, this is a race that I think lived up to anyone's standard, unless it's unrealistic at this point. And I can't wait on Wednesday to talk more about this. And I might make just like every year until they bring it back, just a video on Monday, like bring the finale back. But you know, amazing aggression that early on, even for this format. Of course, we did have some green flag pit stops, kind of shuffled stuff up a little bit. You had like 8 or 9 stay out a little extra. And that's why they, you know, you saw the 22 and the 8, and I think like 1 or 2 more stay out on the next restart, because there was the caution for the tire car because of Kyle Larson. That's something else that, because of the spin, we're probably not going to talk about because of the finish. Kyle Larson today had a great comeback going. And yeah, I know a lot of people being like, oh boy, here we go. It's time for everyone gagging on Larson. But I mean, it's true. He went all the way back to 30, I want to say 6th at one point, because there were only, I think, 2 or 3 that were a lap down. Had damage to the diffuser and wasn't really actually handling all that well for about 40, 50 laps or so after that. Worked his way back up. They did all the fixes they could to it. Team, driver, all of them on their game. Larson just, you can see red in his eyes, flying up the pack, and nearly won this thing. Because it was lap 46 or 47, so about 220 to go in this race, and by 13 to go, so in a little over 200 laps, was battling for the win. And don't lie, I saw a lot of y'all on Twitter and Threads and even some Instagram posts that were being live posted during the race. I saw you Larson fans being like, oh my God, it's hopeless. This is just like Harvick in 2020, blah, 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 you know, all this other stuff. Like, I saw y'all start losing hope. But to me, as long as Kyle Larson is still in the race and has a car that is drivable, I'm going to believe he can stay up there. It's just his biggest enemy is himself. It really is. He's the one that gets in the way of him the most. We get it back restarted. Lap 54. The 8 and the 22 stay up front. It's the only time we saw those two today. They were absolute trash, garbage. Let's get them out of here. They weren't even worth talking about other than that. Bubba took him 3 wide for the lead. He had 4 lap fresher tires. That was it. 4 lap tires. And that's why, like, I am so surprised what Reddick did. Because we saw earlier with what bad handling cars, how quickly they fell back immediately. And you saw Reddick fall back a bit on that opening set of corners. But just damn impressive. And he would win the stage over his teammate Bubba Wallace. 1-2 for 23-11 with MJ in attendance going nuts. How cool is that to see Michael Jordan going nuts over his driver's win? And you can tell he's really, like, how proud he is of Tyler Reddick in that moment. So really cool deal again there. Elliott in 3rd. 4th was Blaney. 5th, Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar was wedged between... up there between guys like Elliott and Blaney, and Bell and Hamlin behind him, Elliott and Blaney ahead of him. He is going to be a star. Mark my words, Carson Hocevar, because he's going to iron out the wrinkles, I think. He's very young, very talented, but he's got a lot of wrinkles, a lot of things he needs to fix up. He's going to iron those out over time. And whether it's Spire building up or he ends up being at a Hendrick or a Gibbs or somewhere that's one of the mega teams one day, mark my words, I do think Carson Hocevar will be a champion in this sport by the end of at least the next decade. So in the next 15 years or so, I could see him winning a championship or 2. I really think he has that talent on him. And if he's already in a Spire car, running top 5 and top 10 in a lot of races, finishing top 15 on the regular, don't get me wrong, Spire's improved, but they are not a top 10 team. They are a borderline, low end top 20 team that's being propped up by a rookie driver who is now getting comfortable at these tracks. Love him or hate him, you're going to have to deal with them. Bell in 6th, 7th was Hamlin, Byron 8th in the stage, Bowman 9th, and Martin Truex Jr. did run up front a bit during this race, 10th in stage number 1. God, I'm out of breath after this thing, man. Need another swig of water. Checking the chat, see a paid guitar, Reddick ripping the wall. Yeah, just absolutely in his wheelhouse easily. Yes, Spencer. Sandy, I need water. Yes, I am staying hydrated, I promise. Napa Racing fan, Hocevar will win the first non-rain race for Spire. Oh yeah, Pinky. Fancy. That's right. We'll talk about that too. We had bees in this race. Nick Cage, wherever you're at, hide. We have bees. Yes, the bees. This did happen during stage 2, so let's roll on into it. We get it back going. Elliott takes him 3 wide for the lead, and it's Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott running for the race lead. Chase takes it, but in that moment, you had the driver that was known by more of the non-NASCAR fans and kind of big for the, with that. And then you had the guy who was Mr. Popular with the NASCAR faithful. Pretty cool. If you think way too hard into it like I do. But the thing is no one could really get away for too long. Yes, there were drivers that led almost 100 laps in this race, but it wasn't like it was uncontested and it was just all consecutive for the most part. You had guys like Hamlin and Blaney catching Elliott. Yeah, you had them racing each other. Contact with the wall for Blaney. Remember, he hit the wall at one point and had to pit just to make sure, a little bit early on his pit cycle, just to make sure that his car was still good to go to finish off this race. So it wasn't even like, it was just Larson that made a comeback, or it was just Reddick who did something impressive. Blaney did a lot of impressive things today too. And at that point, you started seeing Larson around halfway, starting to move into the top 15, then getting closer to the top 10. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. It's going to just heat up more. And it's around that time, yes. Spam B's in the chat, whether it's the letter B or it's the bee emojis, because there were bees swarming the spotter stand. And I love the different ways the spotters dealt with it. You had some spotters who just wrapped like a shirt around their face just to make sure that like they didn't have bees stinging them. You had others that ran to like a different point in the stands, and you had some that just stayed still and just like, kind of just, yep, we're good. Yeah, we got a swarm of bees up here, but you're clear by 3 over the 5. I loved seeing that. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, this race even had one of those weird ass things that you're gonna see in like a random compilation video on YouTube in 10 years of like weird things you forgot about from NASCAR in the 2020s. Like, this race had it all. And yes, we have a swarm of bees in the chat. and of course, yes, I see in there, like jazz. My favorite scene from that movie is like he's having the like the dream or whatever. She's like, watch this in the plane, and runs it into a cliff. Sorry, that's I have the sense of humor of a 10-year-old sometimes, and it has not changed since I was 10 or so when that came out. Someone let me know what year did that movie come out. I think it was like 07 or 08. Might have been later. But the race had to go on. Bees did not stop anything. No caution for the bees. On lap 152, we had even more challenges. The 11 challenging for the lead, but Elliott got pushed ahead. 2007. Damn, I was right. Awesome. So yeah, it would have been probably 9 or 10 when that came out. And you just keep seeing them chipping away. The 11 finally gets beside him. But then the 9 gets by. You have Bell that's closing in. Again, just really, really close. And finally, Hamlin just says, screw it, pulls a slide job on Elliott, goes up the track, and wins the stage for stage 2. Elliott second, Bell in third, Reddick fourth, Blaney fifth, Byron sixth, MTJ seventh, then Hocevar, Preece, and AJ Allmendinger, who... Where'd AJ finish? AJ was 8th. So AJ Allmendinger, I believe, now has 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in the 3 next-gen races at Homestead. Telling you what, if you want a locked-in top 10 bet next year for Homestead, AJ Allmendinger. He's racing full-time next year. You can make some good money off that. I'm just saying that now. You get a top 10 prop on him, oh yeah, you'll be good to go. Put him on your fantasy team. Doesn't matter. By stage 2, he'll be running in the top 10 and maybe running for the win. Yeah, this is AJ's oval, fully. Let's see. I'm not going to read all of the comments you say, but they're pretty damn good, y'all. By the way, click that like button, subscribe to. Let's just run up the subscriber button and the like button tonight. Have some fun with it. Have to be aggressive. That's bad, but I love it. Let's get to final stage here, man. Let's see. Did Bowman kill good racing at Martinsville with his 2021 win? Maybe. I was in attendance for that one too. He might have. But final stage here, we get it back going. 9 and 20 up front. We get it restarted, and Elliott, of course, now running away with the lead. Again, it was Elliott and Blaney, and I think Reddick, Bell, Hamlin, Larson. I mean, there was no true dominant car, which I think is what made it really fun. There's times you'll see, like, you know, Kyle Larson leads 200 laps, and we're all like, you know, screw this. Ugh, this sucks. No. And even then, the racing can be good. But, you know, you have other ones where, like, Bell will lead 150 laps, and people are like, oh, my God. Like, why can't there be more racing up there? You did not get this today. You did not. Which, again, props to NASCAR and the teams. You know, they all nailed it today. Of course, Blaney wouldn't make that stand. He'd get by the 9 before Elliott had to go again. And we had our big caution of incident for the day outside of the Larson deal. With 81 to go, Justin Haley goes spinning again. This time, though, sent by the 54. I don't know whether or not that was like intentional or anything, or just a mistake. But Gibbs was just really bad in this race. Even before then, he was mediocre at best. And I believe, yeah, he finished, 36, 6 laps down. Just awful day for Ty Gibbs. Awful kind of end of the season for him. It's just not been all that great and productive in any way. 76 to go, though. We get it back going. Blaney clears. Bell's second. It's race for third. This is, Gibbs ends up going out with his contact with Corey LaJoie. LaJoie just kind of slid up the track. I don't think it was anything really to write home about. And then you start getting the fuel cycle. And I knew some people at the track texting me that they're like, hey, they're kind of like getting out of the gas. The engine sounds a little weird. I don't know if they're like trying to save fuel, if it's like a fuel lottery or fuel mileage race, or if they're just like, trying to save it to have a quicker pit stop. They end up doing it for probably quicker pit stops. Brad Keselowski and others kind of lead the brigade down to pit road. Full cycle is going with about 50 to go, 45 to go. And with 45 to go, the provisional top 3 is 9, 12, and 5. And it's, at that point, it's heating up. Blaney gets by Elliott really quick. The 45 and the 11 are staying out during this, but Elliott kind of faded at the end of this race. He definitely had one of the top 5 best cars today, but it definitely faded towards the end, and he just was not able to keep up in the later portions of this race. Hamlin would pit about 10 laps after the leaders did, trying to kind of do that strategy where he'd have fresher tires and run them down. Got from, I believe, 14, 15 seconds back to about 5.5 before the caution came out. No chance of winning, but still, I think a really good move, and to be against the grain like that in a strategy situation that you need that, I think it was the right call. There's not much more you can kind of do when everyone is a little bit even. And the one who stayed out the longest, and again, this won him the race, was Tyler Reddick. 18 to go. Larson's getting all over the 12. He's right there. There's 3 wide battles with the 11, 20, and 9. But this is all happening behind Tyler Reddick, who pits with 16 laps left. coming to 15 to go, I believe, does his pit stop. The 12 and the 5 take over the lead. It's looking like it's all she wrote for poor Tyler Reddick. But with 13 to go, it's only about 2 full laps after Tyler Reddick pits. That's when the Larson deal happens. We talked about that earlier. Rewind if you want to hear more what I think on that one. That's what won him the race. That strategy move and a little bit of luck, a little bit of Larson luck on the other end of the coin for him, for Reddick. That's what won him the race, and that's what got him in the position. Again, still pretty impressive with a little bit more worn out tires on a track that eats tires up. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this track has not been repaved since 2003 when it was reconfigured, which would make it one of the oldest surfaces in NASCAR, if not, I mean, there's probably some that are older. I mean, I know like there's some that aren't racing anymore that are older, like Chicagoland in 2001. There you go, another shot. I said Chicagoland, but you know, worn out racetrack like this is why I liken Homestead right now to a Darlington type of track where it just grinds up those tires, but it doesn't do it to the point that it's overboard. I know a lot of people think Darlington's overboard. I don't personally, but that's why I think it's very much like a bit bigger Darlington, a bit bigger Rockingham in the way that tires are that important. But yeah, and we talked about it after. 3 leaders in the last 3 laps. Tyler Reddick pulls off the move in 3 and 4, gets the win. And looking at your voting, again, no recency bias whatsoever. 53% of you say Homestead is race of the year. 24% say it's spring Kansas was. 15% say Atlanta in the spring was. And 7% voted the Southern 500. But yeah, I mean, that about covers the racing itself. Now, we do have some of the super chats to look at. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. I see everyone. Chicago, Chicagoland, Kale Gale. I don't know why. Type Chicago if you want Chicagoland back. I will type Chicago and then Chicagoland. There you go. There, I added my piece. But let's look at the super chats here. Finish off on that. I appreciate you guys waiting me out that put that in there, and I appreciate all you guys in the chat. Almost 700 of you sticking around still at this point. Real quick before we get to that, I do want to give an update on Truck Series driver Matt Mills. Many missed this because the update was put during the race itself. And I don't blame people for missing it. They're watching the race. But I'll read it off for you here. This was from Nice Motorsports. Matt Mills will again remain overnight at a local hospital for observation. Doctors continue to monitor Mills' oxygen levels due to smoke inhalation. Mills, driver the number 42 for Nice Motorsports, was transported on Saturday, October 26th, and held overnight for observation after that incident in the Truck Series race at Homestead. Matt and the team are thankful for the track and safety crews, NASCAR medical team, and hospital staff for the continued care. So he will be held overnight. I'm hoping just a precautionary measure, but for those wanting an update on Matt Mills, there it is. I don't want to make it too bad, but they did give an update. Nothing bad, I would say. Just I'm assuming precautionary more than anything. It was smoke inhalation that is the reason he had to be hospitalized. So quick recoveries for Matt Mills. We're hoping for the best. And well, you guys are going off about Connor Jones, and I've seen a lot of people do that. We put a video about that last night if you want to see it too. But let's go to the super chats here. Steve-O with the 5. Bring the championship back to Homestead. Awesome race today. Right with you, man. I am right with you on that one. Also up to 10 here saying, hope Steve Phelps is ready to deliver that trophy to MJ and Denny Hamlin. 12 out of 10 race. Bring it back to Homestead. I'm with that too. I am that much of a petty asshole that I would want to see that with glee. With a giant-ass Joker-style grin on my face, watching MJ get handed that. And I hope just to be assholes about it, they have like Steve Kessler up there with them, just to like rub salt in the wound a little bit. Yes, Noah's right. The memes would be legendary. I would absolutely love that. Danny Alex in the chat leaving a nice little fact here. Bell has 22 top 10s, which is currently the most top 10s for a driver in the next gen era so far. I'm assuming you mean in a season. Yeah, I mean, he's been the model of consistency, and he's pretty clutch, so I would think he'd be good to go Martinsville. He's won there before, run well there before. But let's see next week at this time. Hunter Nixon with the 5. What a race. Homestead still needs to be the finale. I agree. Yes, make it the finale. Kyle Dozer with the 5. What's the over-under? NASCAR finds something wrong in post-race. God, I don't think they could even make that blatantly fixed and rigged of a decision. They would get, especially after such good press as they'll get from this race and all of the storylines, Michael Jordan, all of that, like all of the good press they get, I can't see them doing that. I feel like if they did anything, they'd just do it going into the off season after Phoenix. But they'd probably just screw him during the race if they really wanted to screw him bad. Let's see. Sam Ryan, do you think Homestead deserves 2 races, 1 in the regular season, 1 for the championship? No, it should stay at 1. I think most tracks should get 1 personally. I mean, we saw the stands today. No one would show up to a non-Homestead finale. It's grown since the finale left there, but it's not good by any means. I mean, that place only holds about 40,000, and it was maybe half full today. So no. I think that this needs to be the finale. It's a lone race. Make it special. I think every race should be special. We shouldn't have to just make races special because of where on the schedule they're at. Every race should be special. Have 1 special Homestead race. I think it should be the finale because I think it's just the best overall track to have it at, and I think today proved that. CBB with the 8-month member chat. Best race of the nitpicks, but that's about it. I don't know if you've heard that, but OBS went off for a second, so apologies if that happened. I'm good to go, right? It's an OBS deal. My bad. OBS problem. Yeah, that's just the software. I probably need a new computer anywhere. That's probably what it's actually doing. So I've seen people, I saw one person say it's lagging the whole stream. There's no drop frames or anything on this end or lag, so that might be on your end. Plus I haven't seen any comments about it until now. So, but if it's been really bad, let me know and I'll fix stuff during the week. SW with the 5. NASCAR, for the love of God, please put Miami back in the championship 4. Happy for 2311, both Wallace and Reddick, especially Reddick. Woohoo! Okay, good. Yeah, if it's like that, like, because there's nothing that's lagged on this end, so like it would be a YouTube end or like your guys' internet end, unless it was that last one. That last one was my end. I own that one. Jonathan, thank you for the $4.99. Nothing commented, but I appreciate the donation. It means a lot, and we will put it towards the channel for sure. Michael Paul with the 6-month member chat. Heartbroken for Blaney. Clean and hard. Great race. Yes, great race. And Kyle for being a new member as well. Welcome to the Iceberg membership. Another one from Jonathan here for the 2 saying, wow, 6 out of 10. Terrible racing. Amazing finish. I'm going to disagree with that. I think it was pretty awesome racing and strategy and an amazing finish. I will respectfully disagree. We can all disagree though in the chat. We do not have to dogpile anybody. Let's see. David Rose with the 5. I don't know what that's saying, but like throw your over your shoulders, baby. We're going to Phoenix. Rah. Seeing a lot of excitement. Marky Mark with the 12 saying pain for us Blaney fans. Pain. 3 days grace, my friend. Listen to 3 days grace. It's the perfect thing to get you through pain. Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart with the 2. This may be the best race in Homestead history. From flag to flag, it might be up there. You know, a lot of other ones are propped up by championship stuff, and that's how people remember it. Or like great finishes like the 2003 one between Lapani and Elliott. But Flag to flag, this is definitely up there. And I know I've known a couple people who text me, DM me, on all of that, who are just like, I've been going here for 5, 10, 20 years at this point, and this is the best race I've seen. So you might be on something. 2005 Homestead was a great race. It definitely was. 2011 was a classic. But if you watch 2011, it kind of fizzled out towards the end thanks to, in part, the lap traffic, where this one was just a banger. Carl Singleton with the 2. Tyler Reddick and the word quit don't go together. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm sure if my dad was watching the end of that race, he was having a whole lot of fun with it. Red Dog with 5. That's the 5 in a nutshell. Great driver, but he is frustratingly reckless, and it may have cost him a race and Final Four spot and championship all at the same time. It could have. And a lot of Larson fans don't want to face that fact or just want to ignore it, but it's true. That is, it's like a gunslinger in football, right? You live by the gunslinger, you die by the gunslinger. He's going to gunsling you to an amazing comeback finish at the end. He's going to throw a back-breaking interception at the end, and that's Kyle Larson in a nutshell. Kyle Larson is a NASCAR gunslinger. He is going to do the most wild, badass moves to get a win, but at the same time, he is going to do the most wild, badass things that look completely stupid, and it's a fine line between them. It's a razor's edge in every single way, and today proved that. If Larson makes that work, that's the move of the year. If he spins like he did, it's a dumbass move. That's just the way it is. Will Griffin with the 5. I know you said watch the races for the racing, but when you're still a fan of drivers, it's hard not to want them to win the championship and get mad. I get it. Watch for whatever you want to watch it for. I ain't holding it against anybody. I don't want anyone feeling like they have to watch it for a certain reason. Watch it for what reasons you have. That will make everyone the most happy. Is Kyle Larson is Nick Mullins? No, he is not Nick Mullins. He's Brett Favre. Kyle Larson is Brett Favre. Maybe minus sending pictures to Jets reporters and stealing from the poor, allegedly. Don't want to get sued. Zay Rush with the 10. NASCAR removed this track from the championship 4 spot a few years ago, then decided next year to take it out of the playoffs. NASCAR should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. Disrespectful to Miami. If they don't move it to the finale in 26, I agree. I still think, especially from things I've heard, from things that are publicly available, that they're going to renovate the track and the city is going to get involved in bringing the finale back, even if it means paying a crap ton of money to NASCAR for it for 2026. If they don't, yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. 100%. Jar Jar Binks makes his return with the 2 here. Boo these doo-doo head Kevin Harvick RCR go 2311 win lawsuit. Didn't Jar Jar in part help the Empire get formed though? So I don't know if I want to be on Jar Jar's side or not. Just saying, man. Just saying. Hold my blunt for the 5. If NASCAR was an emotional roller coaster, this was it. The race was up and down with minimal vomiting. Credit is due where credit is deserved. Right with you, man. I think that's actually a really good analogy for it. Zay Rush with another 5 here. Also, MJ quote was awesome. Little kid drove his ass off. Yep. Yeah, I love the emotion from a car owner like that. Will Griffin in the chat saying, will renovations include a repave? Torn on that. No. The renovations, I mean, have you been to Homestead? It's a great facility, but it is a rundown old facility. It's kind of like in a lot of ways Florida. Like you can tell a lot of the stuff peaked like 20, 30 years ago. It's very bare bones, basic, and and I know a lot of people are like, I'm going for the racing, I'm not going for the facility. I'm like, okay, yeah. But there's a lot of people, especially new fans, that they need those extra things. And when you have Daytona just, 6 hours up the road or whatever it is, which is, in my opinion, the greatest sporting facility in the world when it comes to like amenities like that, and amazing racing too. If you're having to choose between amazing racing, or you're going to the Daytona 500, or you're going to a random Homestead race. And I think that if you're able to fix this track up and actually get people to care about going and have reasons and make it an amazing experience all around outside of just the amazing racing, match the racing with the facility too, I think you could have it down the line if it gets taken off the finale, whenever it gets moved back on again, if it gets taken off again, that it can actually live on its own and be a world-class facility. You know, I love Homestead as a track, but it is a very old and in a lot of ways rundown track, and it can be improved, and I don't think that we should shy away from that, even if it means for 1 year we have to move it to a weird part of the year so we have more time to prepare. I mean, if you think about it like this, if you move it, can someone let me know what date exactly it is? I know it's like sometime in March, I want to say. I mean, hell, think of it like this too. You want this facility to be fixed back up because Phoenix had theirs completely fixed up and renovated to the modern age. At least from what everyone that's been there has told me, and it got moved to the finale. And if Phoenix can do that, Homestead can do that, because they need the Miami market, I think, more than they need the Phoenix market, because Miami's market is getting eaten into by Formula One, which is, like it or not, the chief competitor of NASCAR right now. March, so it's like the weekend of like 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there. 23rd. Okay. So think of it like this, right? You get 9 months to finish 2025 off, and then leading up to Homestead being the finale, you get another 10 months. So you get about 19 months. You'll get almost 2 years to fix this place up, to make it amazing for everybody. Grant, they'll probably have other things going on, but still, nothing as major as a NASCAR race. If they end up making that work, I think that is a perfect move to make. And that's not me kissing ass to NASCAR. Trust me, I have plenty of gripes with different decisions they and ISC and everyone make, but that would be perfect to me, and I would love to see it. Fred Dog 81 with a 5. Don't mind overtimes, but having a mostly long green run to finish in all 3 races was nice. Fun change of pace. Maybe best weekend all around this year. I'd have to definitely think back on that and like what weekends were really good and not in all 3 races. I thought Kansas was pretty good all 3 races when I was there in September. I want to say it still was. So, you know, compete with that. Truck race I think was okay. It was definitely better than truck races in the past. Xfinity and Cup though were great. I honestly didn't know if this race was going to top Xfinity, and it totally did. Bake the Snake with the 5. Blaney leaves the top open. Reddick, Leroy Jenkins. And he had chicken. Sorry. I brought the Leroy Jenkins meme into the NASCAR side of things for the podcast in 2018, and I love that it stuck around for my channel. It's like that and lick the like button. Like I love these old memes that are like, they have their origin in 2018 are still around 6-7 years later. NASCAR Fanatic, thank you for the 3-month member chat. Number 45 for the championship. If not, it's the 5. I am rooting for the 45. I would like actually to see Larson win, because I think it'd be amazing after everything going on, and having a 2-time NASCAR champion heading to Indy next year would be even cooler of a headline. But it's going to be hard to beat those Penske cars. It's going to be real hard. Marky Mark with the 2. In before Cup Martinsville race sucks. Yeah, it's probably going to suck. How's it going, Peter? Good to see you, man. Santa's in the chat. Santa wants us to end the week before Thanksgiving. Fortunately for Santa, the industry does not. Put him on the naughty list. See if maybe that'll change it. CBB with the 5. NASCAR should build a 1.5 mile oval track at Phoenix. That way, everyone can be happy. NASCAR gets their Phoenix finale, and fans get a worthy finale. I don't know how they'd be able to do that with the geography and everything. I am nowhere near well versed enough on that to say. But I'd be fine with a Homestead clone. There was rumors for a while, and granted, it was just based on some like bad stock photos people got from like the designs. But I remember it being rumored for a while that that Atlanta, instead of being a super speedway, would have went back to its original configuration from like the early 90s on back. And people went nuts about that, but I think it worked out in the end. Soupy Spirit with the 5. If Reddick wins at Phoenix, you can't say the playoffs don't have the best driver winning the title. True. Doesn't happen as much as it should, but it would happen this year. And to be fair, I think Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, I'd even say William Byron and Kyle Larson, I think all are very deserving this year. The field up front is so close this year compared to where it's been in years past. And I know you can look at like the way points are awarded in the Lapford system. We do that for fun each week, or you can look how it is without the playoffs involved and all of that. But him missing a race too and still being up front, he Larson's up there for sure. There's probably 5 or so drivers that I could say if they win the championship at year's end, I'm like, yeah, I have no problem with that. Steve O with the 5. Blaney's had some tough finishes this year. Indy, Gateway, and Homestead. Yeah, it's been rough for him. And then let's see. Raider Spawn with the 5 for Super Chat in the channel says, I have a question. Fairly new to NASCAR. I like the car and number more than the driver. Is that normal? I'm a Penske fan. No, it's normal. I mean, when I became a fan about 20 or so years ago, I was a Dale Jr. fan. But I'm not going to lie to you. Like, until I got to like know about my driver more, I love that red 8 car. I know a lot of people growing up that love that the 24 with the flames on it, or the even further back, the rainbow and the black number 3. It is completely fine to love the car before you love the driver. That's why I put a video out this week. I was like, we need iconic and great schemes that are there every week, because people love the car, they love the number, they love just everything about that. You hook people with the car a lot, and then you sell with the driver. So yeah, that is completely normal. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, 5 Kellogg's car. I have. Doesn't matter even when you look back, whether it's Terry Labonte. I have the Mark Martin one over there. Kyle Busch back in the day. Like my buddy Eric loved the DeWalt Matt Kenseth car. I even have some cars here that I know a lot of people said that they loved. You got the Mountain Dew, Diet Dew Dale Jr. car. Let's see. Where's it at? I know I have something in here. I don't have something in here. I have others on my wall here, the Tony Stewart one back in the day. So yeah, it is completely fine to love the car and number necessarily more than the driver, especially when you're new. Welcome to the NASCAR fandom. We're happy to have you. Alex with the 2 here says, Alex the Rex here saying, I'm calling it. 45 wins it. I'll put money on whoever's in there. Why not? Man, what a night. What a race. Thank you guys for coming on in. We'll be live after all of the races at Martinsville and Phoenix the rest of the year. NWP this week on Eric's channel, October 30th. So that'll be a lot of fun Wednesday night. I got to get my sort of half costume, half just what I wear anyway together. I do have a costume idea I might do for that. So we'll see. But can't wait. We will be, again, live Wednesday on Eric's channel, live next weekend, videos all through the week. Can't wait to see you there. Thank you guys so much for coming out and giving me some of your Sunday night to hang out. Appreciate it a ton, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you this week. Later, y'all.